Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Fellowship of the Golden Age. And today I have Teelia Ro. I can't even say your surname, but you're Rauno's Roopson. How do you say your surname?
Röpson.
Oh yeah, see, well,
Röpson.
you're doing better than me. You're speaking English, and yeah, I can't speak Estonian, so
True.
um,
Hello.
hey. And I'm just realizing that this is the first interview since the Estonian conference. So yeah, we've got an Estonian interviewee and yeah. So how was the conference? Like how could you sum it up in a few words?
Oh, it was magnificent. This was my like a best conference I experienced so far. So I really loved it. It was I don't know, the topic was like 100% for me, like
Mm,
at the stage. So in Estonia, always these conferences kind of take the teaching to new level because I remember we had in Estonian conference was the first time the avatar concept came in. Like
yeah.
so
Oh,
now it's the new healing. This is like I don't know what do we have here special
yeah,
in
yeah.
Estonia that
Definitely.
is.
Well, it's a favorite for me too. Like I just feel like, we've had all of this groundwork laid down, between like the Avatar series that was major and everything and then I feel like we're just hitting that pinnacle now. Like, I'm back and revising this conference, just
Mhm,
again and
mhm.
again. It's huge. It's like massive. It's great.
So many so many tools like we
Mm.
can use for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. It'll keep us very busy. And it's absolutely perfect, for me. Like, it's just, yeah, it's exactly what I want to do. And luckily my body, like, yeah, I've ended up with a lower back problem. So I'm able to apply all the tools and everything. Like,
Yeah, you have good
it's
chance. Yeah, to give it a try. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's working, but slowly, just slowly. And I'm okay
Okay.
with that. Like, I don't expect we should be able to do it instantly. I think it'll take us time. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. It's new thing and everything.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, so thanks so much for, being a part of that conference. Like I loved it. I've had a great time. And I just wished I was there though. Like that would have been the best part.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Was
was really
was it near to where you live or did you stay at the hotel there or
it, mm, it it's about 160 kilometers away from where I live. So I used to live in the capital, but then I've over 10 years, not anymore. We moved like in other countryside. So, but I used to live there, so we stayed at Rauno's mother's home.
hmm
He has apartment
very good.
near the conference. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll get the interview kicked off with so could you give your explanation of what a separate self is?
Yeah, way I see the separate self is like it's like a bubble of energy or like a phantom. It's if I go through some traumatic situation or even some very strong positive um, situation, then I develop a reaction or some kind of attitude or something like these things are like that or like this or the way like see it at the moment. Then I kind of feel that I develop this phantom and I fill it with this information, this reaction pattern. And then this phantom like stays in my energy field. And when the similar situations or reaction come in later, then I start to feed the energy into these phantoms, and they grow, and they start to, and then later if they grow stronger, then they like starts to flow back to me, the information that I like loaded there, and then they can start like taking over your mind sometimes with the strong. Depends how strongly you send your energy. If the stronger they can get take you over even more strongly. If you are feeling weak or something, then they might be very strong.
Mm.
So I see that they are like a ghosts
Yeah.
or phantoms, yeah, and
Yeah.
filled with certain information, and then they can take over your life when you're not aware enough. If you like some lifetimes when I develop certain selves, certain reactionary patterns, and when I die and reborn in next lifetime, they still all exist there,
Yeah.
and they form my personality. My personality starts developing with all these like conglomerate of these selves. So I feel sometimes I have if I think who I am, what is my personality, then I see that it's a conglomerate of my these feelings and reactions in all of my lifetimes. So actually, I don't know what I am because it is not real because things I have maybe gone through in the past lifetimes. I don't have nothing to do in this lifetime, but this still this personality comes with me. Like it is like weird because I feel that I haven't had or encounter certain situations, but I still have this strange things in me, like where they came from. That's what I have asked. Now I know, but in earlier life, like I have wondered about it. Why I'm like this? Why I react like this? Why I see things like that? They are selves, these separate selves.
Yeah. 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 I like your explanation. That's good. And it also links in with like the main reference in the Bible that we hear with Jesus is that he gave up the ghost, like it's a phantom and everything. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Only we think they are real, for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
They seem so real. You need good discernment to discern they are not real. And I feel that it comes slowly, this recognition. It's not like if I got to know that these are cells, I instantly like knew and I could like hold myself together in situation. No, it's like it still take over, but it's gradually the influence goes lesser the more I'm aware of myself. So I have to grow my awareness, my real awareness. Then
Mm,
it's like helps to lessen their impact. That's why what I feel. So I have to more and more grow the real self awareness. So
mm,
that's the only cure, I think,
yep.
for this.
Yeah,
So
well,
I'm the path of doing this right now.
yeah, yeah. Well, like we were talking about earlier, like, we had no knowledge of separate selves before discovering these teachings, let alone the primal self. That's another story altogether. But that awareness is helping us to, actually begin to do the work and to heal them and to peel it away. Like before, I don't know, it didn't really make sense. Like sometimes I felt like, why am I acting like this? And but I felt like I had to keep acting that way. Like it was
Yeah.
prison, and like you've just got to follow through, and you've got to act a really stupid way, and I hated it. It just seemed strange.
Yeah. Sounds familiar, all this.
Yeah. But now it's getting easier. So, like what we learned in the conference, I'm sort of applying those exercises. So if I feel a reaction of a separate self, I'm just know that my conscious you can rise up above it. So, I can just sort of go, okay, it's there, but I can just come up and look down on it. So, yeah, so it's more like I'm in control. I'm in the driver's seat. I can choose where my conscious you is going to be and where it's going to go. Um, and not judge myself for having a reaction, but not be that reaction, like to sort of rise above it and make a higher choice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah. So could you give like um would you be able to give like an example of a separate self, like a particular one?
Yeah, I have had very strong separate self all my lifetime that I'm no good. I'm like I don't match with other people. I don't connect well with other people, and other people reject me all the time. I anywhere I go, I feel rejected. I feel like I'm in a fifth wheel. So I'm not belonging any group. I'm always like outsider. I feel yeah, outsider self. This is like the I think the yeah it is the my primal self. It is the I'm always outsider. I don't I'm like always alone or this is the self I take most of the time. I have to deal with this self like. There are, of course, many others linked with that, but this is like it is getting better. I don't feel that I feel maybe only 20% this self with me, but it used to be about 80%.
Um,
About this self was very strong. So this is my like one of my primal self.
mm, mm. Yeah,
And
look,
they always have opposites too, you know. Opposite self might be sometimes I go very like I may be dominating in some group. I start to dominate or speak very loudly or speak like start to maybe even be arrogant or something like that. This is like the opposite
mhm,
because the selves are always two opposites. They
mhm,
are the one side. This is like the let's say victim side. This is like I'm a victim, and the other is dominating.
yeah,
So I if every time I watch these selves, I watch both of them. This the dominating one and this who is always suppressed. It's like two sides.
yeah, yeah.
And some gray area in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Um, so would you like basically just share your story, like share with us, your history and also, your path
Mhm.
on the spiritual path and the unique sort of aspect of it that I like in yours is your experience with past lives too. So go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was born in Estonia, so it was Soviet time. I grew up in like in the ordinary family. I had father and mother and grandmother. Like I have no sisters or brothers. I'm alone. So I actually felt very lonely in my childhood because I had some friends, but I didn't get like I don't find friends easily at all. It's even now it's some kind of very strong pattern. I don't know how to break yet. We'll see what comes. But yeah, and so I started. My father he when this Soviet time started to collapse, and it was Estonian got his independence, then was all all kinds of literature came available. It was like underground before. So my father was very interesting about this all kind of with stories about UFOs and universe and all kind of yeah, and similar things like that. It was actually a lot of these conspiracy theories as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was interesting about and he bought the magazines. And at home I discovered them. I started to read them. And then the thing I most remember was when I first encountered, I read about past lives. Then I was like 11 or 12 or something. And I instantly knew that, of course, of course, there are past lives. It's not my first time. Like, I instantly knew it wasn't for me like, oh, it's not, can't be like that. Or I instantly knew. I still remember that feeling. That I felt when I first read it. So in the high school and after that, I always read about the spiritual magazines or books I got. So I was very interesting. That interest never went away. So when I met my husband, we were 19 at the time. Then first he was like get the impression that he's not interested at all the spiritual things. So I was like, oh, what I'm gonna do, this is like most important thing for me. Like, how can I be with a person who doesn't interest about why I interest? So I was very like confused, but it went. But then after I found out he was like little bit pretending on playing a game that he's not interesting about spiritually. Actually, he was. So he was fooling me. So so we started to develop this interest further together. Like I wasn't alone anymore. So that was huge for me that I could walk with somebody the path because earlier I was always alone. I was felt very lonely.
Mm.
So this was really big help for me. So we started to go on the spiritual camps together. It was like well the lectures. The lecturer comes and then your camp 3 days about they last in summertime, and then we could hear all these lecturers and meet new people, and was actually very interesting times. We met many new people and and actually I was like a let's say very naive spiritual student. I was very eager to to anything new came. I was so interested, so fired up. So uh, now I know that many of this were talking about the astral plane or mental plane or anything like that, but I was like into it. Was very interesting. And actually, uh, there was some. I went every psychic I met. I went to this psychic say, "Tell me my future. Tell me about me. Tell me what I've been, what I've done, what my potential I had." Like I had very strong need to be special. Like I wanted to hear very special things about me. So that was my driving force. That maybe they tell me about very special things about me, that I have this ability, that I could develop that ability, that I could like start to do miracles in the future or something like that. I was hoping to hear that all the time. And some of them, they confirmed some things like that you are special and you have this or that. Or I spent a lot of money to these psychics and things. And I even actually some of them were had very strong psychic powers. Uh, and they did some very strong meditations. And I was like, let's say I was very eager at the spiritual path, but the oppose effect is that I'm very weak at the material level. So
mm,
I had never interest any job, any career or anything material like everyday normal life. I had no interest. I actually rejected it many years. I was actually mad at it, angry. I was like, why do I have to go to work? Why do I have to spend so much time like in this the physical world doing everyday things? I was like, I really rejected it. I kind of had opportunity to do that. I kind of get the money some other way. I didn't have to work some years. So, or even before that, we did go to Ireland. We were working 3 years, so we were collecting money. So I thought, "Ah, I go home now, can uh, be spiritual for a while. I don't have to deal with the material world so much." So, but I had this opportunity for a year, a couple of years. So I had read many books. I read so many books I could get. Actually, I was very open. I even had these uh, spiritual experiences. Like I felt I was opening up. I like expanding. I really expanding, like very, very stretching, very. I started to see things like very like I was reading in the books. I got the connection with them. It wasn't never for me only intellectual. I really felt, I really experienced many things I read, so I get connection. Like maybe I had a connection with astral plane or mental plane or even identity, or
mm,
maybe with these beings. So, but I didn't have any discernment. I didn't know at that time that is the Christ level, or that you have to discern. I thought all this is real. Like
mm,
I
mm.
read Walsh about conversation with God. I read all these series, and I was very inspired with that.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah. So I had a strong connection with it. I really was like I was reading. At same time I was like connected with these beings as well. Same time, so I get sometimes information before I was reading it. So I was very open for a couple of years, uh, and then I started to see past lives because I was very interesting who I was like. My driving motor was, oh, maybe I was something special or something like that. But when I started to see these lives, I didn't see never was anything special.
Yeah, you saw what you needed to say.
I see only kind of these lives were like, I would say were kind of miserable, like,
Mm,
and I was like very unhappy on those lifetimes. And this unhappiness is actually, it's all it's like it's coming with me next lifetime and next lifetime, and then it grows bigger and bigger. And but this history of Earth has been very difficult, you know. So I have had very difficult lifetimes.
mm.
So even if my favorite lifetimes were this when I was in monastery or in this yeah, when I was like a monk or a nun, or when I was very secluded lifetimes,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, in a safe place. Then I had, but they only I can see uh, some of them, but then like like I said, it stopped. They said no, you have to go in the world. You can't. born anymore in these secluded lifetimes, then you have to go and reborn in the, like I say, in the, I had many lifetimes in the castle where this king. I wasn't king or queen or someone important, so-called important. I was I was a servant, or I was in the, where the relatives. In the castle, as many people. I was something like ordinary person there, but all these intrigues and all this, you had to, you know connect to other kinds of people, like earth inhabitants. So you can so it's what like it came like a series of lifetimes, different, totally different. So I had to have the different experiences, in monastic lifetime. I can see that, but
Mm.
maybe I should actually start my first lifetime. This was in the conference in Holland when this Mother Mary's uh, this
The visualization,
meditation came first time. Then I did so on my first lifetime, and
your
this
prime
conference,
primal lifetime,
my
like
primal lifetime, my very first lifetime.
mm,
Maybe I should this as well, that I remember even the times before that first lifetime. I remember the Edenic garden that I remember I was very eager student. I was absolutely I was amazed by life. I was very, very, mm, really eager. I wanted to know everything. So it it got me a lot of trouble, because I think it was there were these serpents as well in this garden, and at the and I was very interesting about them. They seemed so sophisticated, so smart, so mysterious. Maybe they were the serpent have some kind of ability to make itself mysterious,
hey,
some
can
kind
I
of a
ask?
mystic aura.
Can I ask something like the serpent is like they're a human being who's like got
Yeah,
serpent energy? Okay,
like beings, yeah, like students, like I was,
okay,
but only I felt they was like a higher grade students. So
right.
I was like a lower grade student, and I was starting to look up to them. Oh, they are so smart. They are so sophisticated. Their sophistication was like I was very hypnotized. So I started to commune with them. So, but they always look down on me like I am lower class or lower, but I didn't care about that. I was really, I wanted to learn what they know or this. And maybe these things, it is the real reason why I was born in Earth, because I was so interested about them, what they know and what they are, and because I had no discernment at that time.
Mm,
So maybe even if teacher warned me or something, I was too eager to avoid it.
mm.
I think something like that, that I can. Mm. This is never proved that, but I do feel inside that it might have been that way. And and if I saw, I was of course in natural planets. I had a lot of lifetimes, and after I was introduced the concept of the unnatural planets, then I had this compassion and had this, that I have to help people or I have to do something about it. This is so terrible, these planets, that I thought they shouldn't exist, that they shouldn't be. I had this very strongly.
Mm, mm,
And I think it all got me that trouble that I had to born here. And my first lifetime was, uh, it was like it was female society. Females was in charge. So I remember I grew up in the and there was like community where no one really knew who their parents were. They weren't allowed to know who your mother is. So if you were born, everybody had to keep secret whose child you were. So we were raised as like a community, yeah. And we had school, and there was main priestess who was like head of all this community, and they were teaching us all kind of things in the school, and we lived around it. So and we all women and girls, and the boys were kept separately. They were in some other area where boys were like they grew up, and they were teach how to make physical work, so they had to do all the hard work,
Mm.
and women didn't have to do this. So they were like slaves, and they had the head slave, of course, who was like master slaves, who were the others were above them or below them, like. And when I got older, I kind of met this man. I started to develop a bond with one of them. We fell in love, like I had, and I got pregnant like with him. And this is what like was most terrible thing I could do. That if it came out that I got pregnant secretly with a slave, so they actually, if they find out, they were like, mm, I would say they were crushing me. They were like beating these babies out of me. They were beating me so heavily that I had miscarriage. Like, and this man, they took him and they crushed him like the lower part. They were like smashing his knees and smashing his legs, so he couldn't move. He couldn't do anything. Like he was left to die somewhere. So but I was still kept in that community. And but after I find out that he was actually rescued, one of the healer man found him and rescued him, so healed him. But
Mm.
I knew he was dead. I didn't know that he was rescued. So I was like, after that experience, they isolated me in that community. They put me separated. They all people they tell to not speak to her, avoid her, to not do anything with her because she's done something so wrong and so bad. So she's to be avoided. So they started to keep me separated. They started to program me somehow. Uh, I think I was so much in pain, in the physical pain. Maybe there was something like similar, like my lives. They uh, put me through so much pain that I left the body, and then they do some programming.
Mm. Mm.
So I find out these programs now how they've influenced all my lifetimes. That is like, oh my God, really? So they kept me separated, and I could only watch from the window how other people could communicate with each other, be happy, and I am like a worse criminal, so I can't be anywhere around them. So this is like I developed this that I'm no good. I'm don't belong anywhere. Nobody wants me. I'm like nothing. And they poisoned me slowly. They put the poison in my food, so I prematurely get older. My hair fell out. Like I was maybe 30s, and I started to look like 60 or something. So it was fastening my aging process. So I
Mm.
was got very ugly. Before I was really beautiful, like. And then if I they had programmed me long enough, they dumped me some in the forest somewhere. They just dumped me. I was like half dead already. So I did die there. So and I was like I was really like I did this big decision that I never wanna live again. I don't want to exist. I hate life. I hate everything. I just wanna be non-existence. I just wanna dig the little hole and go into it and stay here. So I was really I developed this attitude very strongly. So then I died, and this is all has been hunting me all my next embodiments.
Mm.
This is like this was like forming uh base personality or yeah, primal me,
Mm.
and this all other things like grew out of it. It's like a root, and this all branches come out of. They all have this under how we say it. It's the underlying thing, and everything grows from it. So I'm influenced by it on all my next embodiments, and I build my personality on that primal attitude about myself, about the world, about the other people. So I remember many lifetimes where I was rejected and left down. Let's say I was one lifetime. I remember I was servant. I was very good servant, very developed to the family. And when I get older, I was just dumped. Go, go.
Mm.
I was nowhere to go, because I lived my whole life in this family and served them. But if you were older, you're no use. Go,
Mm.
go and die somewhere. Like probably I did go to the forest and died after that. So this is keep building this trauma. Next lifetime you keep develop more these selves and more stronger. And this is like basic my frame of me, who I am. I am thinking about that. I am that. That if in this lifetime, I always felt that I am stupid and inadequate, no good, and I always uh, put myself down. I don't know. First, even other people don't put me down. I am the first one who's
Yeah.
putting me down. So maybe this is like I'm so afraid other people put me down. So if I do it first, then I'm more safe. This is kind of strange logic I have developed. That
Yeah.
if I do put my first, they don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Then I already done that.
Well,
So
these
this is like
cells have a life of their own. Like they function like a computer program. So, they don't even need a trigger. Like it's crazy. And we just act.
yeah, yeah, and this is yeah, and now even now I'm really working on it. This that get over this I'm inadequate, because I really feel in like I said, I had no interest in material world, so I have no special education. I work in factory. Actually, I'm very ashamed of it that I work in factory, and I have nowhere to go. That the factory now started to very strict rules to if you work there. So I hate all of this, and I feel I'm inadequate. I have nowhere to go, no other jobs. If I watch the job list, there's nothing to choose. What I'm gonna do? Like pay is very little. Everything goes so expensive. So actually, even now, I have a lot of challenges to work on,
Mm.
and this is like I feel this conference was blessing,
Mm.
because I started to use these tools, even heal myself psychologically, because these wounds are really like they are. this is unbelievable how long they can influence you.
Mm,
Because I know this first lifetime was 1.5 million years ago. So, and still, like somewhere inside, it feels like it's going on now. It's
mm, mm.
always running, like. But this is this meditation where you go in theater and you melt away these programs. So
Mm.
it has helped. So it's getting lesser. This pull and this influence is getting lesser. It's getting lesser. Now I start to feel that it is starts to getting better, and I got some positivities coming that it is possible. Really, it's possible to get over this because
Yeah,
a long time it seems like I die like this. It's like impossible to overcome these programs. But this teaching is this Kim's teachings really give you this impetus and hope that you it is possible. If you do the work, it is possible.
yeah.
So so I try to find time now, even it's hard to find spare time if I had to go to work. The everyday life is so demanding, but I have to somehow find the time to do these tools and practices
Mm.
and this practice when you go out of these four bodies. This is really powerful.
Yeah.
This is amazing practice. I'm really, oh, seriously, it is working.
Mm.
That's why I'm really fired up. That's why this conference it was like really blessing. So I thank you, Kim, like for this
Yeah, and thank
great
you, Masters.
yes, of course, and everybody who's organized it. So I'm
Okay.
really grateful, really grateful.
Yeah, yeah, me too, totally. So we're
Yeah,
pretty much at the end, but if there's one more thing you'd like to share, you're free to do that.
actually, I can share that I have had contact with these same people. The first time I know them in this lifetime. Actually, I was about
People,
10 or more years ago. We had the spiritual
which
group, the people from my first lifetime, the
the women
priestess,
in the monastery or whatever. Okay, yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
this priestess and the people, and we had the spiritual group where she was channeling all these things. She has now I can see that she has a connection with the identity realm, with the beings from a mental or identity realm.
Mhm.
And I didn't know. I thought it was God, and they called it Great Spirit. The Great Spirit, the channel, the Great Spirit, and all this. We did like spiritual work, but actually, all gatherings was like power struggles. Every time we had some kind of struggles, power struggles, things. So the actually, I could overplay the similar things from my first lifetime. Maybe this was thing was actually helped me start to remember that my the spurt trauma, because it all the same people I met, because I can see they were the same people.
Wow.
Actually, I have no doubt about it.
So they haven't
So
really changed their momentums at all. Like,
uh, not really. Or
wow.
maybe they are like more like there was like different kind of times now. Now men are not slaves. Men were really as well. Like we are strong. We are power. We are this or that. You are weak. You are. Why are so weak? Why are you so weak? So we had many. Actually, there is many stories I could tell about it, but it's not the time now.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, like yeah, I love hearing the details of that story and viewers, that's our first going into like, a really big detailed primal self story. And Yeah, you saw way more than what I did with my viewing. Like, yeah. Um,
There are actually more details. I only talk about maybe 40%. There is more, but then it would be go too long, you know.
yeah,
I couldn't tell everything. There is more details. Absolutely what I do remember here.
fascinating, fascinating. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you so much, Teelia. I've really enjoyed spending time with you today, and I think you've done really, really well. Like, yeah, I think you spoke really clearly and well, and I appreciate what you've shared.
Okay. Thank you. Cool.
Okay. All right. Okay. Goodbye, viewers. Thank you.
Bye.